Hello. Today we're going to read another Bible story from the Old Testament. This one is called The Fiery Furnace, and it's from Daniel chapter 3. Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon. He had the biggest army and the biggest empire anyone had ever seen. King Nebuchadnezzar was so powerful, he began to act like he was a god, not a man. "All the people should bow whenever I say so," he said. So King Nebuchadnezzar built a giant statue, 90 feet high. That's as tall as a 9-story building. And this statue was covered with gold. It shone like the sun and could be seen from far away. I'm going to show you a picture someone drew of what they thought the statue might have looked like. "Today I make a new law," said Nebuchadnezzar. "Whenever my musicians play, everyone must bow down to my golden statue." "What if they won't bow down?" his friends asked. "Then I will throw them into a blazing hot furnace and burn them up," Nebuchadnezzar answered angrily. This was very bad news for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, 3 young Israelite men who now lived in Babylon. The friends worked for King Nebuchadnezzar, managing the huge city where they now lived. "It is time to bow to the golden statue," announced the king's messengers. Here's a picture of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego wouldn't bow down to the statue. They worshiped the God of Israel, and to bow down to any other god, even a pretend god made of wood and gold, would be against God's laws. When the music played and everyone in Babylon turned toward the giant statue and bowed down to the ground, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stood up tall. They would not bow. Here's a picture of them. King Nebuchadnezzar was furious. "You have to bow down, or you will be thrown into the furnace," he yelled. "King Nebuchadnezzar," the men replied, "if you throw us into that furnace, our God will save us." They looked into the hot, hot fire and then looked back at the king. "But even if our God doesn't save us from the fire," they said, "we will not serve your gods or bow down to your statue." Now the king was even angrier. "Make the furnace as hot as it can be," he bellowed, "and throw these men inside." The king's guards made the fire hotter. Then they tied up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego with ropes and tossed them into the flames. And then something strange happened. King Nebuchadnezzar leaned down and stared into the furnace. His eyes got big. Have you ever seen something that you just couldn't believe you were seeing? Remember how big your eyes got? King Nebuchadnezzar's eyes got like that, only bigger. "How many men did we throw into the furnace?" he asked. "3," his guards replied. The king stared even harder. "I see 4 men in the furnace. They're walking around, and the 4th man looks..." King Nebuchadnezzar rubbed his eyes and looked into the furnace again. "The fourth man looks like a son of the gods," he said, amazed. Here's a picture of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace. "Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego," the king called out, "come out of the furnace." The three men walked out of the furnace. They weren't hurt at all. Their clothes weren't burnt. Their hair wasn't burnt. They didn't even smell like smoke. King Nebuchadnezzar couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Your God," he said, "sent an angel to protect you. You trusted your God, and he saved you from the fire." Then the king made a new law. From now on, no one can say anything bad about the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because no God is as strong as their God. The most powerful king in the world changed his mind because three friends said, "We are going to follow God no matter what." And here's a picture of them coming out of the fire. And there's the king. Why do you think Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had the courage to stand up for God? How can you stand up for what you believe about God? I'm going to say a prayer now. I'd like you to close your eyes and pray with me. Dear God, we want to stand up for what we believe about you and trust that you will protect us. Thank you for giving us the courage to choose your way. Amen.